very highest, ultimate, paramount level of the Illuminati? I know you don't. Who is in command of it? Is it the Rothschilds, the British Transylvanian bloodline? I mean, who is at the very top? And because David Icke today was commending you when he was on with us, saying you're right on target. I mean, who are these people? What is their goal?
Well, the Illuminati has different areas of control. The Rothschilds are in charge of the finances. But some of the other bloodlines are in charge of the rituals, like the Collins are very powerful in the rituals. So the power has been split up and diversified. You can see a parallel in nowadays. For instance, let's say you go into court. The judge is taking the recommendation of somebody else. So he's able to say, well, I'm not guilty of this decision. I just followed the recommendation of blah, blah. And then the people that made the recommendation or Child Services Division or whoever, they're saying, well, we're not responsible. The judge made the decision. It's sort of like another analogy is you have a bomber and it drops bombs, but everybody along the way can deny responsibility. Same way with the Illuminati. The power is diversified, and the way things are accomplished is split up. And so there's
Let me stop you again. Fritz, you were so profound. Because when I've studied this, that's what they do. Like with the actuaries and the insurance and the derivatives, they always share the responsibility but limit it to where no one can figure out where the power comes from, so there's no one to blame for what they do. I mean, it's so devilish, and it's always a tropism, like a plant growing towards the sun. It's a certain system they build where you can never pinpoint the heart of it. I mean, is that what you're getting at?
Exactly. In fact, this reaction to me being on your program follows that whole scenario. It's kind of involved, and it's not something I can discuss, but it's been interesting to see that there was such a quick reaction.
All right, continuing, you were getting into how they always insurance off the blame. They always shadow who's in charge to where you can never get to the enemy.
Right, and each of the individuals involved in carrying out something can pass the buck mentally and say, well, I'm not responsible for this. I was only doing this. I was only the mechanic that repaired the bomber. I was just following orders when I pushed the bomb bay to release the bombs. I was only the navigator. It was somebody else that pushed the buttons that released the bomb. And so down the line, even with the Illuminati kingpins, even they have a lot of deniability, because they can say, well, I'm just following what was planned by previous generations. I'm just working with these other families. I'm just honoring the family's commitment. The circle, they call their family, or they refer to their family as the family or the circle. Don't break the circle. They've got all these little ways of keeping themselves committed to the plan. And that's it. They're following a plan, They're following orders, even the guys at the top. And I don't want to paint a picture that these guys at the top are just pure evil, because life's more complicated than that. And you'll see some of these leading Illuminati kingpins, they're the philanthropists of the world. They're the ones that are doing great deeds. They do greater deeds than I'll ever do.
Well, no, the Illuminati talks about this balance. They create war, but they create peace. They're like trying to occupy the universal sphere.
Exactly. They're Gnostics. They want good deeds to be balanced by their bad deeds, and the bad deeds be balanced by their good deeds, this balance. And so you're going to continue to see this dynamic, this Hegelian philosophy and all of this Gnostic balancing. You're going to continue to see that. We've seen some advancements, and we're going to continue to see some advancements in science and in other areas, medical and communication advancements.
Well, I was about to add, I have been through channels threatened over the years by certain groups, but other powerful groups have reached out and said, off record, you're only allowed to operate because you bring balance. So they see it almost like I'm a manifestation of something, you're a manifestation of something. You particularly went after certain groups, they put you in prison, but that's how their whole worldview basically works.
Correct. Exactly. And on my 9/11 talk, which you were generous and made available to the public, I talked about the caduceus. It's a symbol of health, but it's representative of that balancing that they try to.
Well, let's start over. I'm going to shut up and give you the floor. Go into 9/11 symbolism, Fritz. I'm going to shut up and give you 10 minutes, unabated, break down 9/11 and the Twin Towers, the whole twin columns, the whole thing. You've got the floor.
It's obvious that the targets that were picked for the 9/11 attack were iconic. They were meant to evoke certain things from people. And just getting right to the point, towers have, in the psyche of humans for thousands of years, represented security. And so an attack on the World Trade Center towers was an attack upon the security of the United States. What it did was, on a subconscious level, is make people feel insecure, that we can't protect ourselves, that we're vulnerable.
And 9/11's the number for security. That's when it happened. Please continue.
Yes. There you go, that dichotomy again. And you'll see that in the mind control. Like everything false is real, it's this.
Yeah. I'm interrupting again. Seriously, you got the floor. I'm not going to interrupt again. Just start over. Get into 9/11.
You're welcome to. I love your comments, and I can see why over the years you have built up so many fans and so many listeners, and you make it fun for people. And it should be. It should be interesting and fun for people. 9/11 has a tremendous amount of symbolism. 11 has a tremendous amount of symbolism. 11 stands for towers, and towers come into Illuminati symbology in a lot of ways. And they tie back in with, for instance, the Habsburgs. One thing I pointed out in the 9/11 talk was that even our dollar sign has the twin towers of the Habsburgs in it. People don't realize, why are there two lines? It's because those were Habsburg towers, and those symbols then got onto the Spanish dollar, and then the Americans adopted it from the Spanish. So it has a long history. They picked their targets very well. Then the other target being the Pentagon, which represents, our protecting us too, our military. The United States can't even protect the most sacred, holiest building of the military, the heart. The Pentagon. It was attacked. So it conveys to people that the United States is truly under attack and can't protect itself. And with that, you're able to bring in the Patriot Acts and all the rest because people are just terrified. You've watched it. You've watched the manipulation. Some more about the symbology. Wow, there's just a lot of, it goes on and on. One of the significant things is 1111. You see the numbers 1111 in related to the 9/11 terrorist attack. You see 1111 pop up in many different ways. Well, 1111 symbolizes a shift to a new era or a new, in the occult. 1111 is very powerful numbers, and as I just got through saying, representing a door or a portal into a new period or a new time, new era.
Fritz, stop right there because because I've heard you like pausing, waiting for me to cut in. I'm listening to you. Get into 1111, new portal, new gate, new time, new beginning, and kind of 2012 type stuff. But also, then I want you to speak to this after you're done talking. Finish. Take your time here. But after you get into that, why do they have Fox TV where the government hijacks a jet by remote control, fly in the World Trade Center 6 months before to launch an attack on Afghanistan? Why all these different TV shows and ads about 9/11? Why do they show you what they're going to do before they do it? Is that the lesser magic? So finish up with all the iconography and the archetypes and then continue. So you've got the floor. Just keep rolling.
Good question or good focus there. The revelation of the method. If you can tell your slave ahead of time what you're going to do, how much more power do you have over him? You know, okay, now I'm going to hit you and I'm going to slap you in the face and you're going to stand there and take it. You know, that's one reason why there's the revelation of the method is it freezes people. It literally terrifies some people to realize, whoa, they told us what they were going to do and then they did it. You know, I've seen people frozen in their tracks with that realization. Another thing is it's their inside jolly chuckles. I've watched this over the years. They tell their own people, okay, look at such and such and such, and you'll see we're in control. You know, for instance, a real easy way to make that point is look on the back of the dollar bill. You know, there's the pyramid and the all-seeing eye. What does a pyramid have to do with America? You know, what does this all-seeing eye have to do with America? Nothing, you know. A pyramid might have something to do with Egypt. But they can sit there and tell their people, you see, we have the power to put our logos on the money. We have the power to do this. We have the power to do that. And even their own slaves, their own people, which they enslave, are terrified because, wow, look, they're able to show us right on television what they're going to do. There was all kinds of television shows, cartoons, where they showed the Twin Towers being attacked, comic books. So, you know, they revealed what they were going to do. I'm sure you and a lot of your listeners are aware, if you take the 1 and the 5 and the 10 and the 20 and the 50 and the $100 bill, and you fold them all exactly the same way, and you put them in sequence, denominational sequence, and you flip them, it makes a flip chart. It shows the Twin Towers. They come up, and then the planes flying into them, and they're falling down. It's a little motion picture. It's they do this stuff, and they can show it to someone and their own people or other people, and it's a revelation